Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game So today I got a fun and exciting video for you guys today because I am taking a look at the demo on Steam for Ghost Vanguard. This is made by a developer, Wombo Combo Games, and I've literally never heard of them before. I just saw this on my recommended page and a few people I trust their opinion of told me that I should definitely check out the demo because it was basically a beat 'em up roguelite with a lot of Devil May Cry kind of components in it. And I will say if the demo is an indication of what the final game's quality could be, you could be in for a very big treat when this thing actually releases. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. And even though this is a preview, I just want you to know the developers didn't contact me. They probably will have no idea I'm making this video until it goes live, because I do like to look at new retro games. Just recently, Neon Inferno became my game of the year as far as retro is concerned, but something like Ghost Vanguard definitely is something I'm going to be paying attention to, because right now the release date is just a vague 2026. I absolutely love the art style. You know I love a good beat 'em up if you watch the channel, and even though roguelites aren't exactly my favorite genre, I do enjoy them when they're giving me a lot more to do around the edges, and that's definitely what Ghost Vanguard is doing. But even though this isn't a review, I'm going to kind of use the review process just to talk about this as an example of how the game plays, and we're going to start right off with the gameplay, because it doesn't matter how pretty Ghost Vanguard is, and it doesn't matter how good the music is. We'll get to those in just a moment. If the gameplay and controls aren't there, there really isn't going to be anything else that's going to be worth actually checking out. And I will say right now, outside of one very strange control mechanism, the gameplay is definitely here. I love the combo system, and because it is a roguelite, you're going to be getting more combos and more powers and even more magic as you go along. The impacts are satisfying, and the mid-air juggles definitely give you a lot of fun. The only thing about this game that kind of caught me off guard is you actually control the playable character with the analog stick, but in menus you have to use the D-pad because the analog stick doesn't work. I'm just assuming that's kind of part of the development process, but it's something I'd love to see change in the future. But short of that, as far as the actual inputs are concerned, I really love them, and as we get into more combat, I'll talk about them more. But like any roguelite dungeon crawler, you're going to get some rooms where you have a merchant, so you definitely kind of want to power yourself up and figure out the best way to move forward. And you'll see here, because this is just a demo, we're getting a lot of our actual abilities back, so now we have that dash slash where we can actually kind of just move forward and absolutely decimate some enemies. Getting new power-ups in this game, getting new weapons, and understanding how you want to use them is definitely going to be a big deal. And I do like that these dungeons actually have some safe rooms that are more like challenge rooms, and this one you have to try to destroy as many faces as you can before the timer runs out. Definitely has a little bit of a Street Fighter aesthetic, but the next challenge is definitely going to feel like just beating up a car in Street Fighter from start to finish. This is one area where I had a little bit of issue actually lining up my shots. I think it is just a little bit of a perspective trick where you kind of feel like you're on that right pixel, but you're just quite missing it. But as far as combat is concerned, if you're not hitting your enemies, that's because you're not lined up properly, not because the game is fighting you on it. That is the cardinal sin as far as beat 'em ups are concerned, in my opinion. If the alignment is too far off, you're just going to be missing strikes that you feel like should be hitting. But here again, the combat is satisfying and the waves of enemies are fun. And like I said, a lot of Devil May Cry in here as well, with the juggle mechanic, knocking your opponent up into the air with an upward slash, and then giving them more of those lighter attacks. It's basically going to make them stun locked, and you're going to be able to do that damage without them being able to attack. Because even though this is still early game, you're going to have 3, 4, 5, 6 enemies on screen at once, so actually getting some of them in the air and stun locked is going to make or break your playthroughs. Because I will say right now the difficulty feels nice, and when we get into the first boss fight, I will show you just how good that truly can be. And for a developer that I've literally never heard of before, this thing absolutely has a ton of quality to it, and I am impressed, because it is one of those things. There's so many new modern retro games out there, it can be hard to follow along with each and every one of them, and I would say for every 50 games I check out, maybe only one actually becomes a video. Either I'm not into the genre, or I'm not into the game, or it really isn't doing enough for me to want to actually recommend it for people to check out. But Ghost Vanguard is that 50th out of 50 game where I actually play and think to myself, not only am I going to buy this when it comes out, but I think the viewers of my channel would be interested as well. But let's move into the first soundtrack sound, because this game has a lot of fun music, and some of the music's not what you would expect, but I think in a really good way. So go ahead and listen for 45 seconds, and I'll be right back with a lot more. Now, while the music's definitely going to ramp up in intensity for the first boss fight, I really like that the soundtrack isn't trying to go hard the entirety of the runtime. I kind of like more of that subdued music, those kind of Gregorian chants in the background, kind of feeling like, for lack of a better term, some church music, because it definitely feels like this is a cathedral here that we are fighting in some way, shape, or form. So big credit to the musicians on this one. At least the tracks I've heard in the demo so far really do make me want to listen to them, and I think they marry together really well with the game. But let's move over to the presentation, because that's the second big component here. All of the sprites you're seeing, all of the backgrounds, all of the pixel art, absolutely, in my opinion, looks stunning. I really want to know who the hell Wombo Combo Games is, because if you look at them on Steam, they literally have one other title that doesn't really intrigue me whatsoever. So I don't know where the hell these people came from, and I mean that in a good way, because this is legit some straight up good looking art. And this boss sprite right here, or if it is 3D, kind of converted out into a sprite, straight up gold as well. Definitely some D&D inspiration going on. But I will say the boss fight, absolutely fun. A lot of fun patterns, a lot of fun combos here. You have to read the screen, knock his shield down, and then do as much damage as you can when that shield is actually reduced. And if you take a look at the bottom of the screen, you're going to see we have magic attacks on both the right trigger and left trigger, as well as a Y and B combo that'll do more damage quickly. But those are basically all governed by a meter. You're only going to have so much built up, so you definitely want to make sure you don't pop them all off. And this is my exact first boss fight in this game, so I will show you beating him in the second round, because I almost got it done, but I didn't really have everything down pat. Because this is going to make you learn the game, understand what it wants you to do, and you're definitely going to die a lot because it is a roguelite, and that is kind of the name of the game. You start underpowered, you build your character up, and in successive runs through this dungeon, or in this instance at least cathedral, you are going to learn more of the game and get better at it. And every time you restart, you're going to be on a different map. Sometimes the boss fight is going to be at the end of the corridor, sometimes it's going to be one room over from your starting point. But you'll see here, this jump missed that one, but once I actually get the cadence down, it really is fun. And as far as any latency in the controls, if you see me miss a jump over that beam, it's because I didn't hit the button at the right time, not because the game was giving me any hell on the controls. But this really is just the takeaway of something like this video. I've never heard of the developers before, but apparently in secret, they've been working on something that absolutely straight up seems like a little bit of magic. You'll see here we also have an equipment menu where you can see all the spells we have enabled, and I definitely mistimed that one completely because the boss phased out of existence. But these are the type of surprises I always love in retro gaming or modern retro gaming, coming across something, even if it is a demo, from someone I've never heard of before, and thinking to myself, damn it, you really did absolutely nail the brief on this one. And as far as, like I said earlier, that kind of Street Fighter aesthetic, you have to beat this transit little cart here because it has a treasure chest on it, and you have to do it within the allotted time. Not only does this feel like a great beat 'em up, a great roguelite, and definitely more like a 2D Devil May Cry, also has a little Street Fighter in the mix as well, with a little nod to having to beat a vehicle like it owes you money. Let's move into the second soundtrack sample right now, go back to the boss fight, because this time around I am going to beat whatever the hell that thing floating around is, and I'll be right back to tell you a little bit more about the game and why I'm excited for it in 2026. I mean, the music just works perfectly in context with an awesome boss fight, and again, all of the patterns here, all of the graphics, all of the moveset, the attacks, and everything else are just married together almost perfectly in my opinion. If it wasn't for the fact that I just wish I could use the D-pad along with the analog stick to control the character, I really wouldn't have any notes here, and maybe it was in the options menu somewhere, I just didn't see it. It's one of those things, I want to play this with my arcade stick on my PC, that way I can kind of have that really 2D aesthetic thing going on in the controls. But as far as Wombo Combo Games are concerned, if you're watching this, who who the hell are you and how did you make this thing so damn fun? I always love being surprised. I'm always looking for quote unquote the next big thing just to make myself happy. And Ghost Vanguard definitely has all the hallmarks, at least as a demo, that if they continue with this quality into the retail product, I would definitely be stoked to play. Or it could all completely fall apart. Maybe the demo is going to be the best it ever gets. Now that's not what I expected. I'm not being pessimistic. I'm just saying this isn't a review. It's just a preview. And if you want to play this today, the link is in the description below. It goes over to the Steam page. Like I said, the demo is free and I definitely recommend checking it out because $0 means you have nothing to lose but time itself. And trust me, I think your time spent with Ghost Vanguard is going to be fun. If you have played this demo, leave me a comment down below and tell me what you think. But for me so far, this is definitely shaping up to be an awesome experience in the future and I'd love to see it. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.